Today I want to share with you how we're going to make this cute Christmas planner that you can use during the holiday seasons to track all of your notes, all of your little lists that you have, and everything that you're going to need during the season. It's so cute. It's got these great papers, and we even have a matching pen. So let's jump into it. Let me show you what we're going to use to make today's Christmas planner that we're going to have with this little Kraft notebook. It is a 30-page notebook. I picked these up at Walmart. It's the Pen and Gear brand. They are a little over 5.83 inches by 8.27 inches. And like I said, they have 30 sheets of lined paper. These are a great deal in the store. If you can't find them, I've got a link to where you can order these online. I have used Kraft notebooks before to make some other planners, and they were a little bit skinnier, but I really liked this size and thought, hey, let's give it a try with these planners. And then I've got this beautiful Christmas Noel paper from Michael's. I picked this up this season. It's got a lot of the reds and greens, but it's also pulling in some pink and gold as well. Very pretty colors, and I think you're gonna like what I've come up with this. I hope you can have some pretty papers that you can use with this, because that's what we're going to do as we're making the different covers and pages within our planner for us to use. So let me show you what we're going to need in terms of paper and size. Now I am planning to cover the front and the back, and then also the inside front cover and the inside back cover. We're also going to do some pages, but let's just talk about the covers right now. So I have chosen 4 colors of this beautiful paper that I'm going to use. I've got a front cover already picked out. I've got all my pages picked out for what I'm going to do. And when I do this, let me give you the dimensions. For our covers, it is 5.5 by 8. So 5.5 by 8, and you're going to need 4 of those. Now, if you'll notice, my notebook has rounded corners on the far right side. And so I have taken my little corner chomper that I have by We Are Memory Keepers. I'm using the 1/4 inch chomper, and I have already done this first page where I've made the corners. The way that I've got this fitting on this front cover, we're going to have a little bit of a border, so we don't really have to worry with getting right on the edge or anything. Plus it's going to also help as we're opening along this spine, and I'm going to do some decorating here before it's all over. But I'm going to line this up approximately about 1/8 of an inch, I would say, around the border, and that's just going to help us fit that nicely. And we're going to use that border around each of the sheets, especially here, you know, when we have the fold of the line. If your paper runs all the way up into the spine, it makes it a little bit clunkier opening and closing, and we want our notebook to be nice and easy to use. So I'm also, like I said, going to do these corners. So I've got the 3 remaining pieces that go with all of our corners. And let's see how we're gonna, they're actually, I have to pay attention. I can't just go and do that right side, because when we look at this, when we're gonna do the inside here, and I think I'm gonna use this page for my inside, I think that's how I had it lined up, I'm gonna need to round the left side. So I'm gonna take my 1/4 inch, make sure I'm working with 1/4 of an inch, line that up with this chomper, and it's just going to round that edge nicely. It matches the corner that we have here, and that's what we'll end up doing for the inside. So let me go ahead and round these corners, grab my adhesive, and we'll be ready to place these pieces on the covers. Okay, so I've got my front and the back cover ready. I'm going to set these aside for a moment, and let's work on the inside. Everything that we have, set those over there. This is where I want to place this one, and I will end up placing this cute one right here. I'm using a new tape runner for me because this is what I can get easily locally. And so I'm going to take this piece that's my inside cover, and I'm just going to run the tape along these edges. And I think this is going to be good for what I want to do. I'm using it for myself. Just make sure you get right along the edges, and then I'm going to give it a little bit along the middle here. And remember, we've got this about 1/8 of an inch around this. So if we keep that in mind as we're placing a little bit more of an edge here, but I think that works great for our folding across the spine. And then just use our bone folder to really put that down. I love this paper. It looks so cheerful. Now let's go to our back inside cover, and we're gonna do the same thing. Our corners. Place that down. I love displaying beautiful papers, and this is another project that we can do that. All right, inside covers are ready. Let's go ahead and work on our pages here. That way we won't mess up any of our front covers while we're working on the inside. Now, because our notebook has 30 sheets of paper, about every 6 pages, I'm gonna put a piece of the pretty decorative paper on the actual sheet we have here itself. So I have picked out these 6 pages to use for that. And as you'll also notice, just like the covers, we have rounded edges here. So we're gonna also use our corner chomper on those. These are all going to be on this right hand side though. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna place these in here. Isn't it gonna look great when you open this up and you've got this beautiful page right here? So the dimensions for these that are gonna go inside the pages are 5.5 by 8 1/4. So they're a little bit longer because I want this to extend from edge to edge. At least from this right edge, we're gonna have a little bit of clearance over here on the left hand side, but I want it to fit on the paper completely, and we're gonna round those corners. So 5.5 by 8 1/4, and you've got 5 of those, but I wanna turn these into pockets. And so I've also picked out 5 more sheets of this coordinating paper that are 5.5 by 3 inches, and they are going to fit these pockets right here. We've got the little corner edge here, and if you'll also notice, I've taken out a little notch. I've got this 1 1/4 inch circle punch that we're gonna just do a little notch, and I'll show you that. But I think I want to go ahead and glue this. I'm going to glue instead of using adhesive, glue the pocket on, and then we can adhere the entire piece to this page. I've got my Tombow glue, and we can allow this to dry a little bit. Because it's a pocket, we only need to adhere or put the glue on 3 sizes, just a very light strip of glue. I have these little glue pages that are really just cutting mats from the Dollar Tree. I've shown these before. I love these. They are wonderful in projects like this. We just want to place this on here, and we're going to line up. It should fit perfectly edge to edge on these 3 sides. Make sure I've got that. That one looked a little short. There we go. And we don't want to see anything coming through. Now, I have noticed for this paper, because it is single-sided, the core of it, sometimes the white shows through a little bit more, I guess because the back side. I'm going to show you what we're going to do to clean that up a little bit so those pieces don't show. But we just used a little bit of glue, so that's not going to take very long to dry. Next, I have this real red ink pad, and you can do this with sponges or whatever, but all I'm really going to do is just kind of tap the corners, and it just kind of cleans up any of that white edge. Now, you could do it all the way up. I don't have cut edge on everything, but it just kind of takes away that white, you know, if there's anything showing in between. And I've chosen the red, it matches, and that goes very nicely. So that is going to be our front page. And next I'm going to show you, I'll go ahead, we've got to do this for 5 pages, and I'll show you the next one beginning to end as we have to do the edges. So this is the second section of the page that I was going to use. And again, this is just our regular page that we've cut at 5.5 by 8.25. I'm going to take my round 1/4 inch rounder, and I'm going to do these right hand corners, line this up, and chop off those and round those. We've got that nice, and let's just set this here. I've picked this piece to be the coordinating pocket, and we just need to round this bottom right corner to match. I'm going to take out a little notch here in the middle, and it really doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to kind of eyeball, take off the little notch there, and then we'll glue this down. And you saw me do this part for our first page, and I'm just going to repeat this, check and see if we need to do any inking, and then I'll have 3 more pieces to do. So let's just line this up. Make sure everything's covered in place. I love this decorative paper. It's so cute. I may just take along this bottom edge just ever so slightly. And all the pieces may not necessarily need it. It seems like it's the ones that have the darker pieces. It just seems a little bit more evident, I guess. Okay, we'll let that dry for a few minutes, and I'm going to continue on, do the other 3 pieces, and I'll come back and show you what I've got. I have all of my pockets glued onto the pages, and so now it's time to adhere these onto the pages themselves. And so I'm just going to take my adhesive again, and on this back side, just as we did with the cover, let's attach our tape runner adhesive close to the edge as we can get, and do a little bit through the middle. Make sure we're going to adhere on the correct side. And let me take these. I already have these kind of in place. I don't have them adhered, but I want to really make sure that I'm close here, and everything should line up as long as I can get these corners and along the bottom edge. I want to try to line that up. I'm going to hold my hand right here, and hopefully, let me see if I can pull this piece up. I think I want to go from this direction, and I can see it a little better. Line it up with all of the edges. And we'll add this sheet on here. And just place that down. Use our bone folder. Here we are on the back side. Smooth all that out. Looks good to me. Everything is on. We have that little bit of an edge that's going to make it easy to do the fold. We have our pocket here. We'll add some things inside here in just a bit. So that's 1 page. Now I've got 4 more to do. So about 6 pages over. Let's do the same thing. And there we go. Kind of holding that sheet up just a little bit seems to help. At least me, it helps me place that just on the right spot. So that's my second page, 3 more to go. I'm gonna finish those up and I'll come back and show you what I've got. And I just finished putting that last page in. So now we have our different sections with pockets that we can place any little notes, cards, any kind of things that we need to keep up with during this holiday season. I was thinking that it would also be nice, in addition to our pockets on each of these pages, to have a pocket that kind of has it's a little bit longer. And if you've seen some of my other videos that I've made, I was showing how to make different size pockets, something like this that has a flap or something. This particular one's a little long. I didn't really want to go from the side. I was thinking I would like it better this way, but then a little bit longer. So in that case, I thought maybe let's make one of the longer pockets, and we're going to need some paper for that. So let me show you the pocket we'll make to place on this in the back cover right over here. For this pocket, start with a piece of paper that is 7 3/4 by 8. And let's start off on the 7 3/4 side. You can check it here we're going to do a little bit of scoring. On the 7 3/4 side, let's first score at 2. And then we're going to flip around to the other side, still on the 7 3/4, and we're going to score at 2 1/4. Sometimes that's just easier to me. I don't have to do the math and subtracting. So I've got a score line at 2, and then 2 1/4 from this right hand side. Now let's flip over to the 8-inch side, and we're going to score at 1 inch and then 7 inches. That gives us an inch on either end. Now sometimes it's easier to work on the white side because we're going to do some trimming. So when we're looking at our thing, we need to take off the 4 corners, and as we're doing that, we're going to do our little angle cut that we've done before when we're covering books, because we're going to do some folding. And so I want to come at just a little bit of an angle here. I'm going to get to the point of intersection on that corner, and then I'm going to pivot downward at a slight angle and trim that piece off. So it looks something like that, a little bit of an angle on both ways. Let's try here on this right hand corner. I'm going to angle up to the intersection, angle up, and then pivot out at another slight angle. So we have that as well. Now we've still got the top 2 corners we want to take off. So let's go to the point of intersection at an angle, hit it and turn, and there we go. Same thing over here, point of intersection at an angle, turn, and cut out at a slight angle. So then we have something that looks like this, but we have our beautiful side on that side. Let me take away my scoreboard. We're making a pocket that's 3 1/2 inches wide by 6 inches tall. Go ahead and let's fold on our score lines. And sometimes you may have seen these little, they're kind of like cash receipt envelopes, and sometimes they have the little strings with them and stuff of closure. We're going to fold our something up like this. I don't think I'm going to put a closure piece on it. We can just fold that piece inward, and then we'll have an opening for things. So let's go ahead. I think I'm going to use the glue on this since it is a envelope. I'm going to first glue this top flap down just because I don't plan to open it up. And remember, one of our side links was slightly larger. I think this is the side that was 2 1/4. It's going to go in first, then the 2 inch on top of that. Now here's a little trick about how you can glue this, because we're kind of hard to eyeball and see exactly. If you'll put your glue on the edge of this piece, and then on the edge of the piece that's going to fold over, if you can imagine, it kind of keeps, it will sandwich in that space there that we're not for sure how far it goes over one way or how far not to do it, and we don't want our extra glue all over the place. So I've got the glue here on the edge of this, We're gonna fold it down and just smooth that over. We still have our opening up here, up top. And I'm gonna fold this flap upward. And so you've got the little folded envelope. So let's go ahead, I'm gonna just put some glue along the top here, maybe just a little bit there. That will fold in place. Everything's nice and crisp, and we're ready to place this in our planner. Now, I think when I was looking at this at first, I was gonna place my envelope here, but I think I wanna put it on the back inside cover. It's gonna give it a little bit of sturdiness, so if we have anything that we need to put in this envelope, we've got it. I hate to cover up this beautiful little paper and everything, but I think it's gonna be worth it for the overall look. So let's just put a little bit of glue on this because it is a thicker piece that we're gluing on. I'm gonna just put the glue. The tape runner probably would have been okay, but let's see. I think my placement, I'm gonna place it a little bit more towards the bottom and center. And you know what? We may add some kind of decorative sticker or something. Actually, I think there's some little tags or something we might can place on this as well. But we'll let this dry. I may place something over it. Let me grab my book, and I'm just going to put this on top while it dries for a little bit, and I'm going to go grab the next set of supplies. Here's one of the little tags from that paper pad that I chose to use, and I'm just going to kind of set that here on our envelope. We'll place that here, give it a little decorative piece, just kind of at an angle. Cute little piece there. Okay, we have the inside pieces done, and now we need to go to our cover. So we already had the papers picked out. I had showed you. I have not rounded the corner here. And, oh yes I did, because I did it on the left-hand side of the paper because it's going to fit on the back. I'm glad I caught myself. So this is what I've chosen for the front cover, and let's just do our tape. Make sure we put plenty of tape along this front, but we do have the border. And I'm repeating that for you, but also for myself, to remind myself, yes, you have a border. Place this on here nice and smoothly. And now let's work on the back. And for the back side, I have this beautiful plaid. Make sure you have plenty of tape. I just ran out of tape. Now look, I had this upside down because I know I want to have my corner on this left-hand side. I like having this border because I don't have to be perfect in placing it, but I love the look of this. I love the Kraft with the red and the green as well. And here we have the front of our book. We have the inside with everything, but I've got some things to add to the front. So this is one of the cut aparts from this paper pad. It's about 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. It's a square. This is also another piece from in the paper pad, and I've taken 3 1/2 by 3 1/2, and I'm going to place that on top. We'll put that right here in the middle, and I also have some really cute PomPom trim. I love pom-poms. This is in the green, and I think I'm going to place it along this left-hand side. See how that just made that pop? I love that. I'm not going to do any kind of tie closure or anything. Everything looks nice and neat inside here, but let's put all of this on top of each other. Do some of the layering. And we're just just going to first pop this on here. I'm not going to use any foam dots or adhesive pop dots or anything, because I'm going to be carrying this around probably while I'm doing my Christmas shopping and doing my other planning, decorating, recipes, grocery shopping for the holidays. My dad just brought over here. We are right the week of Thanksgiving, and I do a lot of the cooking. And he said, hey, I've got some more stuff for you. Let's start making some Christmas treats. And I'm like, I gotta get past Thanksgiving first. But that'll be fun. All that's gonna go in my little planner journal here. Now, I've had my heat gun going, heated up, because that's what I'm going to use for this trim. I picked up this trim at the Dollar Tree. I love it. It's one of my favorites. I'm going to take this edge and trim it a little bit neater as we get ready to place the glue and everything down. I love pom-poms. If there's ever an opportunity to use them, I try to use them. Okay, I'm going to run the glue right along the edge of this paper, and then we'll place, make sure my cord. I have had this glue gun. That's another thing. I've had it for years, and it keeps on going. I see all these new cordless ones, and they look so nice, but I just have not done it yet. Okay, so now I want to place this down. Oop. Take this. I love that this trim has this border here, and I'm just going to kind of let that sit. Some of it came out right there. We're going to let that sit, and then I'll trim that off in just a moment. I think this is all dry. I'm going to take my sharp scissors, trim that off, and I love this. It is so festive. I love the pom-poms. We've got something else that we need. If this is going to be my planner book, I need something to write with, right? In all these different pages and everything. So I have these little Pentel RSVP pens. They are great to use. Perfect just like that. But let's go one step forward. We're going to bump that up and use some of our decorative paper that matches. If you remember, this is one of the pieces that goes from the back. But I think it's going to look really well because we're going to roll it up and put it inside the barrel of this pen. The reason I chose this color is because with the different colors on this page, I think it's really going to show up well. Let's try it and see. So you can grab these pens at any office supply store. I find them at Walmart. And what I like to do is I'm going to take this off, kind of move this over to the side because I don't want to write all over my new notebook yet. But you can take, I didn't even give you the dimensions. I'm so sorry. This dimension is 3.5 by 7/8. 3.5 by 7/8. And that's what I have found to work really well. I'm going to just use this kind of like this barrel of the pen to give me an initial kind of circular fold that I can have. And then just kind of roll it the best I can. We're going to fit it inside this barrel. And just kind of roll it. And the dimensions that I have, it has worked well for me. We don't have to use any adhesive or anything, and this will stay in here. Once we can initially get this in and just push that in there and just kind of work itself into the barrel. As you get closer to the end, you can just begin. Whoops, I did it too soon. I don't want to collapse that. That's why you have to kind of give it a little time to work itself in. You're gonna see me have to do it an extra careful way because I pressed in too soon. Here's what we can do. I'm gonna open that back up. I wanna make sure that I can fit this through, but see, I'm not all the way in. Let me try something. I'm gonna go back in from the other way because this is still a little bit sturdier. See what it looks like if we go in from that way, and I'm carefully just pushing in, kind of twisting and turning as I do, and it goes in, and then we get to the end, and then we can push in when there's a little bit more space, and have that little area open to just slide your pen inside, and there we go. But look at how cute that is with that plaid paper. And then we've got this that matches our beautiful little planner book. I have some little cut aparts here that we can add in that came with this paper pad. If I've got little places that I need for notes in any of the little sections here, I can add those in. Let's say I need some spots for gift tags. If we want to add some little index cards or some other little things that we might need, any receipts or things that we want to keep in place, we've got everything right there, and all together with our cute little pen. So I hope you get a chance to grab you a little notebook, grab some cute paper, and make you a beautiful Christmas planner. It's the perfect time. It makes a great gift, or you also need one for yourself, I would say. So I love to have these each year. So get you some paper, get your notebook, make this pretty notebook, and I will see you again on the next pretty Christmas project.